Let's talk about submitting your songs to music supervisors, right? A lot of y'all have ideas and dreams about getting your songs in TV shows, movies, commercials, but you don't really know the first place to start. I'm gonna be breaking that down in this video. So if you're interested in that, listen up. So first things first, we're gonna start with what is a music supervisor, right? So a music supervisor is the person that's responsible for placing songs in these projects that I mentioned: commercials, TV shows, documentaries, films, all of that, what have you. Anytime that they source music that's not like original music, where it would be scored music, where you would have like an orchestra, a band, or somebody come in and play basically orchestral type of music underneath it, so you know the scary dun 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 dun. Those are music that's original music that's placed by somebody other than the music supervisor, right? But anytime you hear a song that's like a popular song on the radio, or you know, an artist does a song directly for like a movie soundtrack or something like that, that's generally the music supervisor that's responsible for that. So a lot of these lucrative deals that'll get an artist, especially an upcoming artist, exposure and income from their songs. So music supervisors are responsible. That's who you send your music to, right? Now, how would you get in contact with a music supervisor or find a music supervisor? So the first thing you would want to do is make a list of all the shows that you watch and you like, right? And listen to the music, listen to the soundtrack, and start to get a picture of what songs are placed. Do you find a pattern? Is there a certain type of genre that's placed more than others? Is there a certain type of BPM, certain type of subject matter, right? All of these things matter when you submit into a music supervisor, because when they get hired by usually the director, or sometimes the studio, the producer of the film, right? They have a quick turnaround time. So they don't have the ability to go through music that's not relevant to the project that they're working on. So if you watching a show like Power and you submitting jazz songs or something like that, knowing that they don't predominantly work with jazz, 9 times out of 10, you're not only not gonna get placed, you're gonna get put on a ban list, or the music supervisor is gonna take your song and put it somewhere else, say, yo, block this artist, because they clearly don't know what they're doing. They clearly not looking at what I got going on. So you gotta be helpful to the music supervisor. So my biggest thing is, before you even send them music, like once you got that list, you wrote down the shows you watch, found out the name of the music supervisor, before you even contact them, well, when you contact them, the first thing you should do is say, hey, how you doing? Introduce yourself. See the shows that they're working on. If the show was canceled, because a lot of the times you may get their names after the show is canceled, or you watch the show but they're not working on that show anymore. Tell them that you enjoyed their work on said show. You have songs that fit that lineup. Ask them, are they working on any projects that are similar to that? And whatever they're working on, would they be open to hearing the track? Don't just send them music straight off the jump. Inquire first to see if you can be helpful to them. People, especially music supervisors, they used to getting inundated with unsolicited tracks. People send it to their emails. People do all this type of stuff. That's a no-no, right? Okay? Music supervisors and anybody in general does not want MP3s or WAV files sent to their email. Not only does it take up their space, it could be a virus. It could be anything. Like, they don't know you. You just sending files and tracks. There is a much easier way for you to submit songs to music supervisors, and we're gonna discuss that. We're gonna discuss that going forward in a couple more steps. But definitely do not be sending people emails for music, especially if it's unsolicited. Talk to them first. These are people first. We know you want something. They know you want something, right? They know you want to place your music is why you reached out to them. But treat people like people first, man. If somebody just always contacted you when they want something, that's not a good feeling, right? You got to treat people like people. Introduce yourself, right? So we got the steps. What is a music supervisor? Find the shows you like, write down the shows, right? Now, sometimes the music supervisor works for a company, an agency, right? And you could find the agencies, and a lot of the times they do have submissions on their website. Like, you could submit your songs to the agency and see if they want to rep you, because when you don't have or I'll say if you are represented by an agency or they decide to sign you as a client, then they do all the sourcing for you. If your music is good enough and they say, we like your music, we think that we can get it placed in different projects, you already don't have to worry about submitting for anything. You got a reputable agency that gets real briefs, right? So a brief would be a client, say Nike says, hey, we need a hip hop song similar to these 3 references, and the budget is $20,000 all in, which would include licensing of the master, licensing of the publishing, the copyright, right? And we need it by Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time of this date. That agency is going to go through their roster and say, we already have songs tagged and we already have songs placed by theme, by mood, by genre. So they're just going to go through their artist list and say, we're going to submit this folder to them, right? And these are real briefs connected by real people that actually do work all throughout the year, like years and years of relationship building. So it's totally different than you submitting your song one-off to people that you don't even know what project they're working on, what type of music they're looking for. So that's another thing. Instead of going directly to the music supervisor, sometimes you may want to go to the agency that they work for. Now, some music supervisors are freelance, meaning they work job to job. They don't have an agency. And in that case, what I do and what I would recommend is find them on LinkedIn. If they're on LinkedIn, chances are they want to be known, because why else would they be on LinkedIn? You know, they want to network and they want to work with their, look for their next job, but they don't mind artists reaching out to them. Now, when it comes to what I mentioned, submitting music, there is a certain website or app, I would say both. It's a website and an app that music supervisors prefer to get their music from potential songs and artists that they want to place their music in. So it's called disco.ac. This is a website that is pretty much industry standard when it comes to sharing files within the music industry, specifically between music supervisors, directors, studios, all of that, right? So you can sign up for the basic plan, which is like $10 a month. And then if you want to add customization like auto tagging or different things like that, it'd be an additional $10. So roughly I pay $21 a month for this feature. And one thing I could say about it is you could customize it. You can upload your artwork. You can upload playlists. You can upload the whole library. So every time you update music, if you send somebody your library file, then they would know that, oh, so-and-so added a new song. So, they have the ability to check it out. So that's a good thing, because as you go throughout the year, they may be looking for more songs, and you just say, hey, I just uploaded a song like that. Go check it out. It's in my library. They already know because they get the notifications. They follow your library, so they can subscribe to your library. You have the ability to meta tag all your info, all the songwriters attached to it, who owns it, is it a one-stop licensing, All of these terms matter when we're talking about sync licensing. So just to touch on what sync licensing is, that's what it's called when a music supervisor selects your song and syncs the audio with the visual, right? So syncing your song, which is audio, with a visual commercial, visual movie, visual TV show. That's called sync licensing. And when it comes to sync licensing, you have two factors that come into play when it comes to ownership. Okay, if you're an artist, first, do you own the record, the rights to the record, the recording, and the copyright? The copyright would be the lyrics and the musical notation in copyright form. So that would be like A minor song, this song in A minor, these are the notes that are played, right? It would be like on sheet music. If you were to write out the instrumentation on sheet music, that would be a form of copyright. Now, generally, when it comes to that, we're going to simplify it. The artist and the producer typically would own 50% of each side, right? The copyright and the master. So you would own it equally down the middle. So whatever your split is with your producer, just say you're one artist, one producer. That's how it goes. Typically, when it comes to licensing a song, the music supervisor and whoever the company that is doing the project needs to get signatures of whoever owns the song to license this song, saying, if anything happens, we got the full rights from the rights owner, right? There can be no litigation. No one will sue us. We're not infringing on anyone's copyright. We have the right to use this song. That's the whole thing. So that's why you should have all of that stuff ahead of time when you recording, before you even make a song. Who owns the song? Who has the right to do it? And sometimes, even though you can still share the rights, one person can have complete ownership of how the rights are used. So if you don't want to wait to get someone's signature, because a lot of the times, like I said, music supervisors get these projects out the blue. Hey, we need to go right now. We need this type of song. We got to replace this type of song. Can we get the use to use it? If they call you or email you, you need to be able to sign off on it immediately. So maybe you can't get a handle on the producer. You can't get he may be on vacation. He may be out the country, change his number, whatever. You need to be able to sign off on it and be able to get that signature over to that music supervisor and be able to say, like, hey, I gave you the rights. I own everything. I don't have to worry about the producer. So that's one of the benefits of having the rights to the song, right? I would also say the biggest thing, once you got the rights, once everything is, the splits are set up equally, and you don't have any copyright infringement, what are the terms of the deal? So when it comes to the terms for the sync licensing, how long is the term for it? Is it exclusive? Meaning, like, if it's a commercial, is it exclusive to this brand? If it's a beer company, you can't license it to a competing beer company. And how long? How long does it run? What type of commercial? Is it a digital only? Is it national, local? What are the rights? International? So all of that is going to matter when it comes to compensation, right? And that comes later. We could discuss that later. But I want to go back to just music supervisor and the best way to reach out. So I would consider, if you're thinking about doing this seriously, start out, get your LinkedIn together. Make sure you upload high resolution images for your profile picture. Make sure that you have your bio, everything up to date. Make sure that you have certain things that you need, right? And I would just say, if you're gonna do it, make sure that everybody is responsive. For me, what I found that has worked is having a professional and a pro subscription on LinkedIn, right? Because it adds a level of credibility. You're able to send in-mail, which is basically I can message a contact prior to connecting with them. When you're on LinkedIn and you're on a free plan, sometimes the person doesn't allow you to connect with them right? And if they do, they want to know, who are you? What do you want? So you could send InMail, which is a feature that allows you to message them before connecting, right? So you can just say, if you want to connect, you leave it on the ball in their court, right? Then this is what I'm reaching out to you. And it's longer than the 200 word intro. So say on LinkedIn also, when you go to connect, there's an option for you to write a brief message with the invitation, but they give you like a 200 character limit. But you may want to actually introduce yourself properly and say the real reason you're contacting them, provide links, do all of these different things so they can get a real understanding of who you are, a better chance of you actually connecting with them. So I would say I do recommend the Pro because I use it all the time, right? This is my main point of contact in music supervisors and also just industry people throughout. Like if I need like graphic designers that work on artist merch for labels or whatever the example is, I do use LinkedIn. That's my number one source. But if you're doing free resources, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, Google these people's name, and it'll pop up. The biggest thing with the music supervisors is, I just want to summarize. Write down your shows that you like, right? That you're aware of. Listen to the music. Get the feel for the tone, the texture, what type of songs work. Also, be realistic with your goals. Like if you know that this show only selects major artists that has #1 hits, and they rarely put independent artists on their show for licensing music, then it's not a good fit for you to submit your music if you're not that type of artist that fits that category. Don't waste your time. Look at the shows and see what shows typically have independent artists as their music, right? How are they using the music? Is it featured in the scene? Is it coming from a source within the scene, like a radio, right? Headphones? How are they using the music? Because ultimately that also comes down to compensation. For example, for intro music, if you're the first song in a film, right? Or you are the song in a theatrical trailer, or the closing song, the song in the main scene, that typically pays more because the use is instrumental to the scene. Your music is instrumental to the emotion within the scene. If you are just playing over the radio in the background and there's dialogue talking over the music, and that typically pays less, right? But sync licensing is a way for you as an artist to make money off of your music, gain exposure, and to carve out a niche lane, another income source. So I would say look into sync licensing, look into music supervision and music supervisors, and reach out to them and build a working relationship. Rarely happens overnight. You rarely just contact someone and they say, hey, we can use your song. 9 times out of 10, it's going to take that right project. But this is why having an agency or working with someone that you have a real working relationship with works, because they can tell you, hey, I need you to create something like this. You may not have a song like that in your catalog, but given the opportunity, if you have your infrastructure in place, whether you're able to produce or you work with producers and they're able to produce a song in a quick turnaround, you have your home set up, you have the ability to record and turn around in a quick time. This is why I would say always recommend having your own setup, having that pipeline with the producer or being able to produce. So when someone contacts you, you can be able to deliver in a quick manner. Hey, we need a song with this type of style in under 24 hours, no demo records. We need it fleshed out, mixed and mastered. If you're working on your craft every day, the better you get. You are able to write a 16-bar, quick 30-second, 1-minute commercial song, because typically that's what it is for commercials, 30 seconds to 1 minute. So you should be able to write 8 to 16 bars, have your producer either have beats in that style or create one, right? And then you record it, get a decent mix on it, and send it out to the music supervisor. That's not unreasonable if you're actually working on your craft every day and get to that point, right? And these sync licensing fees could be very lucrative when we're talking about, especially for independent artists, right? We're talking about national commercials, we're talking about major brands, or we're talking about studio movies or top TV shows. If you happen to link with a supervisor that can do that, we're talking about thousands of thousands, maybe even tens of thousands. When you get to the major level, it's not unheard of to have hundreds of thousands of dollars for one song. So if you're an independent artist and you happen to score a national commercial, you not only get paid for the master recording, which is the song itself, right? But you also get paid on the back end royalties, right? And that's for owning the copyright. So equally, let's say that they license it for a national commercial, $20,000, right? You're likely going to receive $20,000 in publishing on the back end royalties as well, and possibly more because it continues to go as long as they're airing this commercial. So like I said, this could be a very lucrative stream of income for artists, especially independent artists that need their money. So I would just want to give you that information. I hope it was helpful to you. Hope you guys had learned something. If you did, remember to like, share, comment. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, if you guys want to submit any type of questions, any type of topics you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what you guys think I should talk about. And until next time, signing out, man. Don't forget to like, give this video a thumbs up, share it, right? I'm all about getting the independent community, getting the independent artists as much information, exposure, and game as I can. I know what it is to be an independent artist out here just doing your thing. Wishing you had people listening to you, wishing you had that type of exposure. So as I continue to grow, I continue to invest in myself. I continue to make these videos and get better. I'm hoping that they're offering you guys some jewels. I know I may be sporadic and all over the place, right? That's just how my mind works. But I'm hoping that you guys are able to decipher, get the game, and see like, okay, day to day, I'm out here giving you game that you can apply, whether that be, the last video I did was about music distribution. This one is about music supervisors and sync licensing. And I'll do a specific video on sync licensing itself, breaking down fees, breaking down the type of sync licensing and royalties you can get, a more in-depth one if you guys want that. But until next time, signing off. Appreciate you for rocking with me. Peace.